Okay, so now let's start with part two. Describe an important decision you made on your own.
Well, honestly speaking, I am a straightforward person and I always come to a conclusion very quickly. However, there was once in a blue moon that I hesitated to give a decision. It was so difficult and important, and that is the time when I decided whether to study in Laogai or Hanoi by the entrance of secondary school. Well, talking about that time, I was studying in Laogai when my parents suddenly asked me if I want to study in an international school just as their friends' children do or not. Like at that period, my parents believed that international environment and programs can encourage my self-esteem more by providing diverse decisions for me during academic progress. Luckily, it is just a suggestion, and my parents are authoritative. They allowed me to reflect carefully and give my own decision. After around 2 or 3 days of thinking carefully, I discovered that public school is good for an ordinary girl like me at that time. I improved my parents by setting my sister who went to public schools but still successful and become an influencer as a parallelism. Moreover, I also tell my parents believe that money for international program can be used to set aside for my higher education, like college or university, and some portfolio program, which also assists me in developing my own strength. I also granted that I believe in my competence just as long as I put myself from any aim, I can do it. My parents agree and approve me for that decision, and I have never regretted for that.
Okay, so now let's move on to part three. So your first question is, what might happen if children live to depend on their parents?
Well, it can negatively affect their ability to develop autonomy and independence necessary for healthy adulthood functioning, I believe. Well, children might become passive because they depend too much on parents to pave their way. Later on, when children grow up and are required to live independently, because they lack of critical thinking skills and making decision skills, they might be struggle in giving out decisions, which is time consuming and lead to confusions easily when they grow up. Moreover, they can also feel uninvolved in a community. Well, this due to the fact that they're scared to follow what they believe is accurate and they cannot decide whether is that true or not. And they also cannot follow desirable traits that they want, and this can lead them to the possibility of missing opportunities to blend in with their favorite society with their strengths. But for example, I can say that if a child was born with artist talents, but they always follow their children advices to become teacher, to work in education, and I believe that in the future, that environment cannot help them to improve their strength, their talent, and it is very hard for them to blend in with that educational society because they are not really interested in becoming a teacher.
So question number two, what are the effects of parenting on their children development?
Well, talking about the effect that parenting might have on children's growth, first and foremost, I can say that it must be behaviors. Well, to make it more specific, parents are always set as an example for children to follow. While parenting is a process to grow up to mature a child, this means that during this period, what parents do or introduce to youngsters are usually believed to be descent to that generation, young generation, I mean. Well, for example, in a criminal families, because that children is suffer from some criminal behaviors like pickpocketing or thrifting at a young age. In the future, when they grow up, they believe that those behaviors and those social evils are normal and they just follow that shit. Well, secondly, I think that mindset also have the effect of parenting on children's development. Well, the process to absorb knowledge as fast as possible is discovered during the young age of a pupil or a person, I mean. And if the child is taught during that period of time, the knowledge and the skills are easily carved into their mind. Well, lastly, I can say that the effect might have is the ability and skills of children. Well, this can be seen easiest in the independence of some youngster in the future. Well, like for authoritarian parents, most children don't have independent skill because they follow what parents want and what parents told them to do. While for permissive or authoritative parents allow children to give their own decision, those children can have independent skills.
Okay, so move on to question number 3. What kinds of people tend to live by themselves?
Well, I haven't think about this much. I think that kind of people that usually live independently are those who are raised by permissive or authoritative parents. Well, because they are taught to live independently and learn to give out own decision at a young age. Therefore, they can, in the future, they love doing everything by themselves and they always have an aim or a dream to move toward to that. Uh, Moreover, I think that people who tend to live by themselves can, majority of them, can come from underprivileged family because those people suffer from poor at a young age and they kind of have the obsession with money and their childhood condition actually forced them to earn money and live by themselves at a young age. Well, maybe that for some people, divorced family can also lead some children to live independently in the future because those children usually lack of love from parents and have to be independent at a young age. Therefore, when they grow up, they also keep that habit and follow it.
Question number 4. How can parent and teacher help young people to live independently?
From my point of view, the easiest way for this is that let children to make their own decisions. Well, it is not very good to always drop a line for children to follow. Sometimes it is good to let them learn how to make decisions and think independently at a young age. And what teacher and parents need to do is just give advice as well as help them, encourage them to follow their dream, to follow what they have chosen. Well, furthermore, I think parents and teachers also need to stop being overprotective. They need to allow children to go out alone, to make plan for the trip, or just do anything on their own so that they can, at the same time, do what they like as well as practice some important skills that they may need in the future to live independently. Well, lastly, I think that living independently is not just about skills, but also about the love, the emotion side. So parents and teachers also need children to learn to protect as well as control their mindsets, their emotion. Well, this is in order to help them to behave accurately and become a normal person when they live in a real society.
Your last question is, what skill do you think young people need to learn to live independently?
In my opinion, I think the most important one is they need to learn how to earn and save money. They need to learn about economy and understand the way money comes and goes, understand the money stream. Well, this can be explained by the main reason that money is the main main things in the adult life. People literally need money for any aspects of life, like education, food, or accommodation. Well, if they can earn enough and save enough for their life, they have moved toward nearer to learn how to live independently, to learn to control their economy. Well, another I think might be soft skills like household chores. This is also important because some household chores help children, youngsters, and people to keep their working and living conditions clean and proper for life. This also help them to maintain their health and maintain their life in a in an order way. Well, lastly, I think that children also need to learn social skills to live independently. Um, this can be said that social skills are so important that led people to use their verbal and communicating skills to create relationship, which can be useful in the future. Well, for example, by to attract business partners in jobs, social skills is so important to maintain relationships and make the deal easier. Well, similarly to this, for a society, people also need to use social skills to make friends, to maintain and blend in the society easier. This is also one aspect of living independently.
Okay, thank you. So that's your last question.
Okay, so now you will start with part two. Describe an important decision you made on your own.
So I'd like to say that an important decision I made on my own was to pursue a specific academic path during high school. It was a crucial time in my education, standing at the crossroad of selecting courses that would shape my future course. And this decision took place when I was in grade 10, a pivotal moment when I had to choose between difficult academic stream like science, humanity, or economic. So I decide by carefully evaluating my interest, my strength, and long-term goals. So I took into account my passion for problem solving, analytical thinking, and interest in the natural world. After consider too much and research into varied career path and discussion with my family. So I decided to pursue a language focus, specializing in English and Korean. So I think the difficulty in making this decision stemmed from various factors. Firstly, there were pressure and expectation to pursue traditional education part. So in the course, I had to attend many extra classes, do research and project, and many demanding exams. Sometimes I was pressured because I felt that I cannot catch up with my talented classmates. Besides that, there were financial considered at continuing education often involved costs. And additionally, there was an uncertain of whether the investment in time and effort would pay off in the long run. But finally, I chose to pursue an advanced major in language in my high school education because I recognize the value of it would add my life in terms of personal growth, knowledge acquisition, and future opportunity. I think language bring a lot of benefit for my future career. While the decision was challenging, I'm grateful for the path I chose as it had laid the foundation for many opportunity and experience that that I never had seen then.
Thank you for that. And now let's move to part 3. The first question: what might happen if children live to depend on their parents?
So to be honest, depending too much on parent may negatively impact on children behavior. So I think relying on family comes with a pride that children often love in self-control and consideration for others. So they need more motivation for achieving success. For example, children who are too dependent on their parent are more likely to experience drugs or might struggle with higher education. But in contrast, self-reliant children tend to be happier, have more, like self-esteem and more respectful, more able to do many tasks that those who do not.
The next question: what are the effects of parenting on their children's development?
So for me, parenting style play a crucial role in shaping a child development across various aspects, including social, emotion, and behavioral. For instance, parents who prioritize healthy eating habit, physical activity, or regular healthy visits contribute to their children's physical health and well-being. I think the parenting style, level of involvement, and the quality of parent-child interaction significantly impact impact on a child development and future outcome. Authoritative and supportive parenting practice contribute to a healthy development, while negative and uninvolved parenting can lead to challenge in various areas of child child life.
The question number 3: what kinds of people tend to live by themselves?
So honestly, I think people who live alone come from many backgrounds and have various reasons for choosing solo living agreement. I think some introvert individual who prefer like solid and privacy may find living alone more comfortable and conducive to their lifestyle. But some individual may see living alone as an opportunity for personal growth or self-reflection and independence. So, for example, I could say that some people who has a demanding or unpredicted job that require a lot of flexibility and they prefer the freedom to come and go at a plea without worrying about the people's schedule or their needs. So I think the decision to live alone can be influenced by a combination of personal, cultural, economic, and maybe lifestyle factor.
Thank you. And how can parents and teachers help young people to live independently?
So I think parent and teacher play crucial role in preparing young people for independent living by fostering essential skill, attitude, and behaviors. They should be hand up and put their foot down instead of being overprotective. For example, practical skills such as cooking or cleaning or managing financial do some basic house maintenance are essential for independent living. I think parent and teacher can teach the skill through hand-on experience and tips by active supporting and guiding young people in developing their personality. By this way, I think parent and teacher can empower them to thrive independently, which lead to achieve success in the future.
The last question. What skills do you think young people need to learn to live independently?
So to live independently, young people need a diverse set of skills that encompass various aspects of daily life. To illustrate, these things include communication skill, time management, financial finance management, maybe some skills such as problem solving or critical thinking, and so on. So I think having a discrete line and the motivation to prove yourself up by boosting is very difficult. But I think that is the most important skill that young people need to not only live independent, but also to success in their life. So I think young people should learn how to take care of their physical and mental health, including like do exercise or eat healthily. For example, uh, I think some young people should learn how to cook nutrition meal for themselves and seek for professional help if they are struggling with their mental health so that they can, you know, learn how to live independently and also can take care for each other, not only themselves.
Thank you. Okay, bye bye.